Cloud. All right, now it is all you, Miss Natalie.
Nice. I'm going to share a story with you tonight that is really special to me because when I was a little bitty girl, a long time ago, one of my favorite stories was the story of the Three Little Pigs. And there was a song that went with the story. And the song would say, "Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? The big bad wolf, the big bad wolf. Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Cha la 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 la." And so that's the story that my mom used to read to me. And then I had it on a record that I could listen to it on. You probably don't know what a record is. But a long time ago, that was my favorite story. And I always grew up thinking, you know what? That wolf is pretty bad. He tries to get those piggies. He tries to get Little Red Riding Hood. This wolf is pretty bad. Well, I didn't know that there might be another side to this story. And so I want to share that story with you tonight. This story is the true story of the Three Little Pigs. And it's by A. Wolf, as told to John Sheska, illustrated by Lane Smith. So the wolf is telling his own story. And John Sheska is making sure that we can get it. So the true story of the Three Little Pigs. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I felt that way before, that you haven't heard my side of the story. I remember that when I was with my little sister. Sometimes I'd get in trouble. Hear my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is wrong. The story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. Oh, that's really sweet. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. Look at what he's got going on in this cake. I see some bunny ears. I wonder if he's making a bunny cake. He said wolves like to eat bunnies and stuff like that. He's making a cake for his granny. So I walked down the path to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He wasn't too smart. He had built his whole house out of straw. You see his straw house right there? I mean, can you believe it? Who in his right mind would build a house of straw? Look, he's walking to go to that little pig's house. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Little pig, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. An itchy nose. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed. I sneezed a great sneeze. Look at that. Oh my goodness. It's a huge sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. Look at that. Boom. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. Look at that poor little piggy. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner just laying there in the straw. So I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. Raise your hand if you would eat just a cheeseburger lying there. If you found your favorite food, if you would just eat it. I see a hand up. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. Well, that looks like it's a little bit stronger. Let's see. I rang the bell on the stick house. Ding dong. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. Well, that's not very nice. I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed. A great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Well, that's kind of suspicious. The first little pig and now the second little pig. I wonder what he's going to do with this pig. Now you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Oh my goodness. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full. Look at his belly. See his belly? He says, I was getting awfully full, but I was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. The guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, little pig, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again. Oh my goodness. So rude. Talk about impolite. Can you believe it? He probably had a whole sack full of sugar and he wouldn't give me even one little dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. Look at his face. Look how mean that pig looks. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. And the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin.
Because every time I try to turn it up, it's not going off.
Oh my goodness. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I can go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down this pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and snuffing and sneezing and making a real scene. Achoo, achoo, achoo. The rest, as they say, is history. Look at this newspaper. The Daily Pig, Big Bad Wolf. Wolf, I'll huff and I'll puff. A.T. Wolf, big and bad. It says he's seen as a menace. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. Look, he's showing that newspaper. That's it. The real story. I was framed. That means that they made him look like he did a bad thing that he didn't really do. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. He's all locked up in jail. So this version is the wolf's version of the story. He says it's the true story. You know, I don't know. I grew up hearing one story and I thought that was the true story. And now the wolf is saying that's not the true story. He's got a different story. And I don't know what to believe. What do you guys think? Do you believe the wolf? Was he really just trying to make a cake for his granny and just sneezing and blowing those houses down by mistake, like just an accident? Or did he really try to blow those houses down on purpose so he could eat those little piggies? Raise your hand if you want to share, or come off mute if you want to share. What are you thinking? Which story do you believe?
I believe that he did want to borrow a cup of sugar, but I don't think that eating the other pig should have been part of the process.
So even though they were already dead and he said he didn't want to let a good meal go to waste, you think he should have he should have eaten them?
I don't think so, because I mean they had family that was looking for him. I mean, well, in my version, I would think that, you know, if I'm looking for somebody, I would actually want to see the person.
Right.
I'm gonna get ready with it, but yeah.
I can understand that. I can certainly understand that way of thinking. Anybody else? Do you agree? Do you believe him that he was just looking for a cup of sugar and that this was an accident? Or do you think that he really is a big bad wolf and he was trying to eat those pigs on purpose? What do you think? Because this is the debate that we had in my class. I teach 4th grade and my 4th graders were all over the place with what they thought. So what do you think?
I saw Selena had her hand up.
Selena, can you share?
Down, and then the big bad wolf had half and half and blow the house down.
So do you think he did it on purpose or was it an accident?
It was and did on purpose.
You think he did it on purpose. Why do you think he did it on purpose? Why don't you believe his story?
Because that's not nice.
It's not nice. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not nice to blow somebody's house down. Even if it's an accident, it's still not very nice. Anybody else want to share? What else are you guys thinking?
I believe him. I'm thinking that it was by accident. I'm thinking that, you know, he was already there and he was just in the wrong place at the right time, I guess.
The wrong place at the right time. I'm going to push your thinking a little bit because I had a fourth grader bring a point to me that I never heard before. And what she said was, maybe the first time it was an accident, but once he realized how strong and powerful his sneeze was, he should not have sneezed on the second house. He should have turned away. And that he was guilty because he didn't learn from his first mistake. That the first time he did it was a mistake, but the second time he did it was not. He could have changed his behavior. What do you think about that? And I had not thought about that before, but this was one of my 4th graders. So what do you think?
That's a valid point. I never thought of it like that because whenever we tell the kids, like if we see the kids at school and they sneeze and we say, excuse me, can you please sneeze into your elbow? 9 out of 10 times they sneeze into the elbow. You know, you just got to bring it to their attention. But maybe nobody told them, you know, I guess you're right. It makes sense.
Yeah. So I hadn't thought about it that way. So does that change your thoughts about whether or not he's telling the truth?
I think because wow, I'm torn because I really want to believe the wolf But now that you told me that, I have doubt about his story.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And as I tell my kids, there's no right or wrong answer. It's an opinion. And
Right.
what I'm asking is like, share your ideas. What do you think? Because it's not right or wrong. Do you believe this wolf? Do you think that his story is the true story? Or do you think that he is a big bad wolf as we've heard the story before? What are you thinking, Selena? Do you believe that wolf or not?
I don't believe the wolf
Why not?
because he accident even if he accidentally blew down the pig's house, it wasn't nice. Plus, he ate the pigs.
So if he accidentally blew down the houses, he should not have eaten the pigs, is what you're saying. That's what I think I hear you saying. And so does that mean that he's somewhere in the middle? Like he's not really as bad as the pigs come out to believe, but he's not completely innocent because he still did the wrong thing? Is that what you guys are thinking? So let me ask you this question. Let's get off this wolf for a minute. I have one more question for you before I go because I have another thing I have to get to. But I'm really wondering, he was having a hard time getting this sugar for his granny's birthday cake. And he said, well, maybe I would just make her a card. If you had something, if you were going to make something special for someone, what would you make them and why? What would you make them and why?
You say ask for it.
Ask for it.
What would you make? You would make a card?
Say
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Would somebody else like to share? What would you make? Can I tell you? Go ahead.
I would make a cake. I would measure some ingredients, maybe some flour and sugar, and I would make a cake.
Okay, nice. I was gonna share while everybody else is thinking, one of my favorite things to make for my mom, because it's Mother's Day on Sunday, one of my favorite things to make for her is either something that I bake, or she really likes my art. So I like to either paint her something or draw her something. I like to make gifts too. So what would you make if you were going to make something special for someone? I know we heard a card, we heard a cake. What else might you make for someone?
Don't show that. What about Miss Raquel? I know Miss Raquel knows how to make some really great food.
No, so it doesn't matter.
I like to cook my mom her favorite meal, and I like to make some sweet.
Nice. What's your mom's favorite meal?
Her favorite meal is rice and chicken
Nice.
with olives.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Green olives or black olives or both?
She likes the green olives with the red peppers inside.
Okay, okay, that sounds delicious.
We also have Zariel here. Zariel, what type of food does your mom like?
Fish.
Anybody else want to share? What would you make if you were going to make something special for someone?
I know Layla likes to paint art. She's a really good artist. And so is Selena. Selena can draw really good. What type of pictures would you paint or what would you draw? Tanika too. Tanika's really good. I call her creative Tanika because she's always doing something creative. What would y'all make for mama?
I would make a picture of a rose, and I would use some glitter glue to put inside of the rose, and that way it would be glittery.
I love that idea. Enhancing your drawing with some glitter glue. Well, I've got to leave you guys. I want to thank you so much for having me join you. It's been nice to get to know you. And now that you have my contact information, please reach out. I can help with anything else.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you. And please also send us your mailing address too.
I sure will. Thank you guys so much.
Natalie,
Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great weekend.
You as well. And happy Mother's Day from
Happy
all of us here.
Thank you so much.
Happy
Bye bye
Mother's
to
Day,
all
Miss
the
Rockett.
moms. Happy Mother's
Hey,
Day.
Miss Onika, Miss
Happy
Shanice.
Mother's Day.
Bye bye, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
all right,
Thank
now
you.
we have Miss Latae who's going to do her book.
We finish it?
All right, Miss Latae, you ready?
Am I almost done?
You need to, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'm going to
all right.
mute everybody
Okay.
and you can start, okay?
So today's book we are reading, we actually have read this book
Gonna
in
take
class and my kids really enjoy it. It's called After the Fall. It says how Humpty Dumpty got back up again. Have you guys ever heard that story?
No.
So we just found out this is like a second version, or the second version of Humpty Dumpty. This is basically saying life begins when you get back up. So he fell and he got back up again. We know the short version of Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. We know that. So the author, which is Dan Tat, I want to say Tate. I can't say his name correctly. Which one?
Fantastic.
Dan Tat.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Miss Raquel.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
So let's get into this book. It says After the Fall. Alrighty. So what it says is, my name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot, high on the wall. But I love being close to the birds. Then one day I fell. I'm sort of famous for that. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. So basically, they said that when Humpty Dumpty fell, he said they kind of overdid it. They kind of made it grand and they kind of spruced it up a little bit, a little too much. And he said it was just an accident. So this kind of feels like the Three Little Pig story with the wolf saying his side. So let's see how this is basically how Humpty Dumpty feels. Basically saying, you know, these are my feelings. This is what happened. So let's finish getting into this. All right. It says, fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me back together again. So basically, he came out of the hospital called King County Hospital. And they managed to bandage him up a little bit. And it says there was some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. So basically, he's kind of lying on the floor. So what do you guys think he meant by some parts of me couldn't be bandaged with just glue and bandages? Anybody want to take a swing at that?
All right, I think most people are going to be
Muted?
muted, yeah. So you can just keep going through the whole story and then we can ask the question. How does that sound?
That's perfect. It said, after that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite. I walked past the wall every day and I would think about climbing that ladder again. I really miss the birds and being high above the city. But I could never do it again because I knew that accidents happen. I'm gonna turn the page. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. Then one day, an idea flew by me. I'll turn the page. It says, making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches. But day after day, I kept trying and trying. Until I got it just right. I'll turn the page. My plane was perfect, and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with the birds, but it was close enough. I'll turn the page. Unfortunately, accidents happen. They always do. I almost walked away again. But then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things I'd missed. I decided I was going to climb that ladder. I'm sorry, climb the wall.
How
But
do you
the
climb a
higher
wall?
huh?
How do you climb the wall?
With a ladder.
Oh.
With a ladder.
Okay, that's a pretty little ladder. Has anybody climbed on a ladder like that before? Selena's in her hammock. What about you, Miss Layla? Have you ever been on a ladder? I know your dad, Mr. Edie, has a lot of tools and ladders. What about you, Zai? You ever been on a ladder before? I know y'all been on the ladder at school. Huh?
Most of them are muted right now, so we just gotta finish.
Everybody's on mute, huh?
Yeah, then you can ask the questions. How about that?
There you go, Zaria. What were you saying? You been on a ladder before, Zaria?
No.
Okay. Would you be scared to go on a ladder?
Yeah, I would not go on there.
Okay. Why won't you go on it? Okay. Now, what about when you go to the park and they have a really big ladder for the slide?
I will not climb it.
Okay, simple as that. You're not ready for that.
Or something.
Okay, I got you. Makes sense. Makes sense. What about you, Selena? What about you, Layla? Would y'all go on a tall ladder and then go down a slide, a really big slide? I think you got to unmute yourself. Okay. There you go, Layla. You got it. Thank you, Miss Trina. There you go, Selena. She almost got it. Yeah, all right.
All right, you can go, Mr. Player. Yeah.
I got myself unmuted.
There you go. Thank you, Selena. So would you go on a tall ladder?
Yes. One time I went on a tall ladder over there and I wasn't scared.
Okay.
I didn't look down and I wasn't scared.
Okay. That's cool.
I
She
kept
wasn't
saying
scared.
you can do it.
Ah, that's a good idea. So you had a positive thing you kept saying, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it.
I have a story about a ladder, and I was
want to hear your
there's
story,
also
Miss Raquel.
there's
I
also
was
a
very
falling down
scared
tree over there.
because there was a fire in the building where we lived in New York City. And because we lived in a 5th floor apartment, every building has something called an escape route, right? And each apartment has a window with a ladder. So you have the fire escape, and we had a fire. And we couldn't use the regular stairs to go down. And I was afraid to get on the ladder. But the firemen kept telling us, don't look down, feel your way, grab really hard, and do it one step at a time. So all of us had to climb out the window into the fire escape, and one by one, we had to come down the ladder, and they caught us on the 1st floor. And that was a very scary experience. But you can overcome your feeling of being scared if you have somebody to coach you and tell you that you're going to be okay. That's what happened to me. We had to, no matter how scared we were, there was a fire in the building. So we had to follow the firemen's instructions and come down one by one slowly down the fire escape, one ladder at a time. So sometimes we have a difficult time trying different things because we are afraid. But then something happens and we have to do it. And that was my experience when I was a child.
That's the story, Miss Raquel. It makes sense because same thing with Selena did. She didn't have a coach, but she coached herself. She said, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And she went up the ladder. Wow. What do you think, Zaria?
Very brave.
Very brave. You think you can tell yourself, Zaria, I can do it. I can do it? Or Miss Daisy can tell you. Because I know she'll protect you.
I won't say nothing.
I can do it. Huh, Zaria? Say, I can do it, Zaria. Go, Zaria. Go, go, go. I can do it, Zah. Yeah.
I just have to go till I can't take anything.
Perfect. Thank you, Zaria. All right, Miss Latae. If Selena, you want to say something, or you okay? Miss Tanika. Go ahead, Miss Latae.
All right. Thank you. And those were all great answers and great stories. I love Mr. Raquel's story. But the higher I got and the more I didn't want to admit it. I was terrified. Yeah, terrified. Terrified is scared, but I want to say it's a little worse. It's almost a worse feeling. See, terrified had trembling. See the hand shaking? I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing one step at a time. I'm going to turn the page until I was no longer afraid. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. So he emerged into a beautiful bird. I'm sorry, I think I'm missing a page. Oh, I'm missing a sentence. 1 second. Hopefully you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. And as I say, he turned into a beautiful bird. And learned how to fly. Everybody see that? And that is the end of our story.
That's a very nice story.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. We always read upon this story. Since we've got the books, we've read this one the most. So tell me what y'all actually thought of the book. Do you feel like it taught you something? Because I do. Anybody want to answer? Selena? Are you in the hammock, Selena?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wow. Did you get up there all by yourself?
My mom helped me make it.
Oh, I love hammocks. They're so relaxing. I wish I could actually get one one day. Anybody else got something to say about the story? This book also teaches you to face your fears, and no matter what happens, to keep pushing, keep trying, and don't give up. I actually have a recent story with my CDA, and no matter what, Miss Noggins, Aziz, Iqbal, they all pushed me to keep going and just not give up. Because I was ready to give up, to be honest with y'all. But I'm very grateful and thankful that they have pushed me. They told me just to never give up and keep believing in myself. And I'm almost there. Just gotta pass that test.
You will.
We want you to succeed. All right, what about you, Miss Raquel? What type of advice do you have for us?
Yeah, definitely, Miss Raquel. She gave me advice when I was when I first met her, and I take that to heart. Thank you, Miss Raquel. I appreciate that.
You're such a good son. You listen to advice. My advice is that we all, as human beings, have fears. Sometimes our fears get in the way of us succeeding in certain things.
Very true.
Sometimes, let's say, I used to be afraid. I grew up in New York City, so I didn't drive for a very long time. And I was very afraid of driving in the city. So for a lot of years, I did not have my driver's license. But one day, I wanted to go someplace that I needed a car. And I felt really upset that I was not going to be able to go because I couldn't drive there and I didn't have anybody to take me. And that day, I decided that I was going to have my driver's license. So I studied and I studied the book and I studied the book. And when I went to take the test, I was very nervous. And so I took the test and I passed it the first time. But other people, I have a friend here that has taken it 3 times and she hasn't been able to pass the test. But I tell her that no matter how discouraged she gets, she's going to pass that test. The more she practices, the better she will get. So no matter how many obstacles we have, we must keep trying and be positive. That makes us stronger.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, I can relate, Miss Raquel. I actually don't have my driver's license or car right now, so that's gonna be my next step. Once I get my CD out the way, then I'm gonna work on getting my license. I don't want to pile too much stuff on it.
Well, that's necessary because you
Yeah.
have to be able to move, to do your groceries. Sometimes people are not there for us to help us do things. That's why
Definitely.
we have to learn to stand on our own 2 feet.
Exactly.
So what about we have Tanika, Selena, Layla, Ms. Ariel. What do you guys have to say about keeping going? Okay.
So yeah, so that was a what's that called? Really good point, y'all. And Miss Latae, I gotta ask you, you should be finish your CDA soon. So hopefully you have a driver's license soon. Thank you so much for that inspirational story, Miss Raquel. And this is our baby Miriam right here, y'all. Miriam, say
Oh,
hello.
Miriam. Hello, Miriam. Hi, Miriam. Welcome to school. Pretty soon you're going to be reading us a story too.
Definitely. This is your
You know, when I was little, I came here to the United States and I didn't speak English. I was very scared because I could not understand what other children were saying. And that made me feel really, really sad. So I wanted to play with other kids, but they couldn't understand me and I couldn't understand them. What do you think we should do? If you have a student that comes to your class and only speaks a language that you don't understand, but you know what my teachers used to tell me? That I was going to learn the language and that it was going to take a little bit of time, that if I tried hard, that I was going to be able to speak English. So that was an obstacle. It was a big obstacle because I only spoke Spanish and everybody in my class spoke English. But because I tried harder and learned new words every day and learned new sentences, I was able to overcome my fear. How about you guys? Do you have fears of other people? Of not understanding what somebody says to you?
oh god, it's still going?
Yeah.
I'll turn this. I'm gonna pop it off. All right, yeah.
Okay, it's unmute.
So this is baby Miriam right here, y'all.
Hi, Miriam.
Yay.
Hello.
Yay.
Hola.
Miss Raquel.
Hola.
Look at your Zaria. You had lunch with Zaria today, right? Yeah. She had lunch with Miriam today. Oh, we were missing Layla. And then we had Selena. You haven't met her yet, huh, Selena? She can't wait to tell you. So this is baby Miriam. This is what Miss Raquel said. Miss Raquel said she wanted grandbabies. I said, here you go, Miss Raquel.
Miriam.
That's your Spanish.
Hola,
Yeah.
amigos.
Ooh.
Hola, Maria.
There you go. There you go.
Hello. Oh,
Yeah. Talk to him. Tell him. Say, I am the best. I.
that's a bilingual child.
Hello. Yeah.
Hi.
Give him flying kiss. Give him flying kiss. Ooh. Flying kiss. Hey, give him that. Give me five. Give me five. Yay. You want to give him that? Ooh. Yay. Tell him bye.
Bye.
I gotta go change your diaper. I'll see y'all later, okay?
Okay. It's great to see everybody. Great story. Bye.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say? Zariel, Selena, Layla, Miss Latae.
No. This phone charged.
I really enjoyed Zoom,
No.
the Zoom reading, and I'm grateful to have the book.
Thank you so much, Miss Latae, for joining us every week and
To
reading
see
to
you,
us.
Miss Latae. Hang in there. You're
Thank
gonna do it.
You're almost there, Miss Latae. We're looking forward to seeing you guys back for the next book club that's going to be in the fall. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We love you guys. Love you, Miss Raquel. Love you, Miss Latae.
Love
Yeah.
you guys. Have a
Love you,
great
Layla.
summer. Have a
Bye.
great summer.
Have a
Happy
great
Mother's
Day.
Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you too. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.